This means that Yusuf was running away. Zuleika did not catch him and pulled him. Hazrat Yusuf was a prophet of Allah. He was righteous and pure. He did not incline towards sin. Sacrifice. What is the interest of Allah that Hazrat Moses, peace be upon him, was born in a common family but was raised in the royal palace of Pharaoh and had no children? Hazrat Yusuf, peace be upon him, was also born in a common family and was raised by Aziz Misr. He was also deprived of children. When Allah Almighty grants someone a high position, He changes his mood and environment from the beginning. Aziz Misr did not say anything else to Yusuf, but started cursing and blaming Zuleika. Finally, what is the good in Yusuf that you are inclined towards him? Zuleika replied, I will put you all to the test that I have gone through. So one day Aziz Misr's wife called all the women to eat. The women came to the gathering and placed a fruit and a knife in front of everyone to eat. Then she called Yusuf to the gathering of women. As soon as Hazrat Yusuf appeared in the gathering, all the women fainted. A kind of intoxication set in. Instead of cutting the fruit with a knife, everyone cut their fingers. Blood started flowing from their fingers. Zuleika said to the women who were cursing her, What happened to you all that you don't be careless, instead of cutting the fruit, cut off your fingers? The women said, By God, this is not a human being, this is an angel. Seeing this, our senses were blown away. Zuleika said, All of you women were bent on defaming me. Now why did you all become like this? Instead of cutting the fruit, you cut off your fingers. Zuleika told the women, I tried to pull him towards me, but he escaped from me. If he does not listen to me, I will imprison him. Yusuf said, O Lord, I like imprisonment, but I do not like going to him. O Lord, only you can save me. If I come near him, I will be among the ignorant. Allah saved Yusuf. When Zuleika's defamation began to increase, Yusuf also refused to come near, so Yusuf was put in prison. The goodness of Prophet Yusuf was talked about throughout the city. Every woman knew this. Prophet Yusuf was in prison and used to remember Allah. He used to invite people to goodness in prison. When Yusuf was in prison, 2 new prisoners also came to prison after him. One was the one who served the king with wine, the other was the kitchen officer. Both had committed a crime, so the king punished him. Yusuf showed the people the right path and explained the command of Allah. That is why the people in the prison had faith in Yusuf, and they knew that Yusuf was righteous and pious. That is why one of the 2 men said to Yusuf, I saw in my dream that I was serving wine to the king. What is the interpretation of this dream? The other said, I saw in my dream that bread was placed on my head and ants were scratching and eating the bread placed on my head. Tell me the interpretation of this dream. Before telling the interpretation of the dream, Yusuf said to them, You people worship idols instead of Allah. Allah alone is worthy of worship. But you people have started worshipping someone else besides Allah, so you are on the wrong path. Hazrat Yusuf said, My father is Hazrat Yaqub, my grandfather is Isaac, and my great-grandfather is Hazrat Ibrahim. Our fathers and great-grandfathers were prophets sent by Allah who believed in only one Allah and did not associate anyone with Allah. Allah's command is upon us all. He used to preach to the prisoners and tell them good things. The words of Yusuf had a great impact on the hearts of the prisoners. Both the prisoners believed in Allah and said, We have abandoned the religion of our fathers and are believing in the religion of your fathers. Then both of them asked Yusuf, peace be upon him, to interpret the dream we had. Whatever you tell us will be true. Yusuf, peace be upon him, told them that whoever saw in his dream that he was giving wine to drink will give wine to his master. And whoever had bread on his head and the birds were eating the bread will be crucified. He said to the cupbearer of the king, when you are released and become an employee of the king and give him wine, then intercede for me with the king, saying, I am innocent. When the man left, Yusuf forgot everything he had said. For a long time, Yusuf was serving his sentence in prison for a sin he had not committed. He was helpless and helpless. There was no hope of release. He kept showing the elders the path of religion in prison. Remembering Allah was his habit. One day, the king said to his companions and ministers, I have seen a dream. If any of you can interpret it, tell me. The companions said to the king, tell me your dream, perhaps we can interpret it. The king said, I saw in my dream that 7 lean cows were eating 7 fat cows. 7 ears of grain were green and fresh, and 7 dry ears, but the dry ears were eating the green ears. How can lean cows eat fat cows? The dry ears were eating the green ears. What does this mean? The companions said that they were unable to explain the dream. These words reached the king's cupbearer. When he heard them, he remembered the words of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. He told the king everything about Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, and said that only Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, could explain the dream. He is in prison and is serving his sentence. The servant who served the king's cupbearer said, send me to Yusuf, I will find out the interpretation of this and come back. The king gave him permission. He reached Yusuf and mentioned the king's dream. 7 lean cows are eating 7 fat cows, and they are eating dry ears of corn, green ears of corn, and fresh ears of corn. O Yusuf, tell me the interpretation of this dream. You are righteous and truthful. Whatever you tell me, I will go and tell the king. Perhaps the king will have mercy on you and release you from prison. Prophet Yusuf said, the country will have plenty of grain and fruit for 7 years, but the next 7 years will not be good. Grain will not be produced, there will be famine. The grain that will be produced during the next 7 years will have to be saved as well as eaten. The remaining grain will be useful during the famine. If the grain is not saved, people will die of hunger, and this grain will have to be kept in the ears so that it does not spoil. So the first 7 years will be good, during which time it will be beneficial that there will be plenty of rain, the land will be fertile, and grain will be abundant. When the servant told the king what Yusuf had said, the king fell into thought and said, I want to release Yusuf from prison. Bring Yusuf to me so that I can find out more. Yusuf seems to be an intelligent and good person. When the servant reached Yusuf and delivered the king's message, Yusuf said to the servant, I want justice. For what crime was I imprisoned? And he told me about Zuleika, that she tried to call me closer, seduced me, threatened me, but I refused to fall into her trap. Allah saved me from sin. The women who came to Zuleika cut off their fingers as soon as they saw me. These things are a sin. The only reason I am telling you this is so that Aziz Misa knows that I am innocent and pure. I have not committed any treachery. Allah does not like treacherous people. I do not want to disgrace anyone. I am living according to Allah's command. The servant who served the wine heard Yusuf's words and went and told the king the whole incident. The king called Zuleika and other women to find out the real reason. Zuleika told the king the truth and said that I tried very hard to invite Yusuf to sin, but Yusuf escaped from me. I became sure that he was righteous and pure. When the king found out the reason for cutting off his fingers from the other women, the women said that by Allah, we have never seen such a handsome and young man. Upon seeing him, we all lost our senses and cut off our fingers in ecstasy. Yusuf is not a human but an angel. Yusuf is righteous and sinless. After finding out the truth and the reason for the cutting of the fingers from Zuleika and the other women, the king ordered that Yusuf be brought to me. I will place him among my special companions and make him my assistant in some matters so that the affairs of the government will be facilitated. So, Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, went to the king. The king spoke to Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, and said that I have come to know about all the incidents. I will give you a special position. You are a person of honor. I will keep you with me, have complete trust in you. You interpreted the dream that there would be a good harvest in the first 7 years, and a famine in the following 7 years. I want to put the management of the grain in your hands. Hazrat Yusuf agreed and said that I will carry out this task diligently so that the people in the country remain happy and there is no shortage of grain. Hazrat Yusuf took over the food department and saved the grain that was produced in the 7 years, when there was no harvest in the other 7 years. He provided the people with grain from the stored grain, and the country was saved from famine. Hazrat Yusuf took the place of Aziz Egypt and started ruling. Due to the lack of grain in the country of Syria, a famine occurred. The people of Canaan were also worried and started reaching Egypt to buy grain. 10 of the 11 sons of Prophet Yaqub, peace be upon him, also reached Egypt to buy grain and met Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him. While introducing themselves, they told him that their father's name was Yaqub, peace be upon him, and the name of the brother who could not come was bin Yamin. At their words, Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, understood that these were my brothers who had pushed me into the well. He immediately started remembering his father and his brother bin Yamin. Hazrat Yusuf, peace be upon him, said to them that you 10 men have come to me.